welcome to the For Purpose podcast, Russell.
Thanks, Dev. Great to be here.
Russell, we are running this podcast series called the For Purpose podcast, and we are inviting leaders who are driving for purpose organizations and leaders who are driven with a purpose. And the whole idea is to get the leaders coming around, having a chat about how the purpose has evolved across the years, starting from their get-go, their life and their education, their working career and all of that stuff. And then where they are at right now. So, and thanks for coming in.
Pleasure.
And I want you to just give a bit of a background of yours and how your life or your growing up has inputs in your current purpose.
Yeah, so I was actually the son of missionary parents. I was born in New Guinea, and Mum and Dad were missionaries in a very remote part of New Guinea. In fact, Mum and Dad were the first white people to go into that space and not get killed, which was very fortunate for me. And I suppose a lot of that formed very brave, yeah, because this was the early 1960s, so there was no communications, transport was difficult. They had to walk days and days to get out. Dad had to build the airstrip so planes could come in.
Oh dear.
It was really primitive when they went in compared to today. And I think some of that formed who I was, living in other cultures. I think creates this awareness there's something greater than you, and I think that's important. And so for me, that one of our family values has always been helping others and contributing to making a difference for people that are less fortunate. My wife grew up in Queensland. Her family was very similar in outlook, and her father particularly came from quite a difficult family background, and so they were always involved in fundraising and community events and doing all sorts of things. So when we got together, that just became a natural part of who we are. So that's kind of where I've come from. Career-wise, I started off as a school teacher many years ago, and over time built a whole lot of skills until I get to the point in the late 1990s, very early 2000s, where working really hard in a professional environment, making a reasonable wage, making the people who are the partners in the professional environment quite wealthy, and sitting there going, this is not really fulfilling or satisfying. And so that's when I started to look to get into other work and found my way into the not-for-profit sector and realised you can do really high-quality work. You can change organisations, lead organisations, and more importantly, you can make a difference in people's lives.
And when you started working with not-for-profits, where were you at of understanding because you were misaligned when you were working with for-profit organisations, and as you moved to not-for-profits, what was the feeling there in terms of alignment with the first few organisations you were working with? Look,
I think there was an immediate emotional alignment. There wasn't necessarily an intellectual alignment because I still had a whole lot of commercial and corporate, and there was a lot of change we had to lead in that environment anyway to make the organisation sustainable. But one of the things I did early on that I think brought the two together really well was spend a lot of time with the people we cared for, being out in those services and engaging with the older people, the kids, the homeless people, the children we're looking after. And that brought it all together. And to this day, I still do the same. I still spend a lot of time with the people we care for, because if we don't, we lose track of what we're in it for.
And across the organizations, you think that your values were similar, or were they progressive or changing? Or
I think the base was similar, but I think my ability to express them and work within that framework in a more relaxed and freer way has evolved over time.